If it's always about the money and if it's always for the money, we'll never be rich. If your consistent motivation to do anything is simply for money, you will never reach your full potential in anything. And I think a lot of people miss this because, you know, you can do anything for 10 years, and at the end of those 10 years, you can do something that you love that is actually kind of making you a comfortable living eventually. Or you can do something that you absolutely hate and it may or may not be giving you a comfortable living, right? And a lot of people in this world are just so absolutely unhappy. And it has caused a depression worldwide, you know? And there's so many aspects to what is actually the issue, the problem. There's so many different dominoes that contribute to this mass depression. And I don't mean like financially, I mean in the heart. The world is depressed. There's psychological and mental issues with other people. And the thing is that, you know, a lot of people will say, this doesn't affect me. If it doesn't affect me, then it doesn't matter, right? But at the end of the day, if more and more of the world becomes more and more depressed, and we stop looking at what it means to be human, we will turn into something that is just, I guess dystopian would be the correct term, okay? The amount of excess we have going on, and yet there are people on the street, and I get commercials about starving children constantly, and it's actually insane to me that we can have a video of a child who's completely famished, bones showing it all, and so nutrient deficient she can't even walk. But yet we have people that have a collection of 30 different cars that are worth $500,000 each. What is going on in this world? You know, we as humans should just have the capacity to understand a fellow human needs help, and we should give out a hand to help. We should take care of these people. It should just be it should be a part of the process of our culture. Like, oh, you're okay, because the thing is that people don't understand, like, how do you get from A to Z? How do you get from functional person in society to homeless? And it has to do with depression, and it has to do, and I'm not saying that some of these people haven't done it themselves, but what leads people to that place? Depression is a serious thing, and we live in a very unfair world where the world provokes you every day. The world tries to take away your joy wherever it can. And I see that we have such a narrow vision of how things should be when things don't have to be this way. We're making it this way, and we can choose to make them a different way. I've been just really upset because lately, you know, I'm not always upset, but recently, you know, things have been weighing heavy on me. And I'm sure a lot of people can feel the tension going on and the fact that, you know, things are falling apart. Like, if you actually understand and pay attention and you're vigilant, you will see that things are falling apart and that we're really just trying to hold it on as much as we can. I don't know a good way to reach a certain amount of people, but I'm not the kind of person that wants to be about, oh, well, this side is right and this side is wrong. You know, I think a healthy blend of everything can work, but the problem is that we are so black and white about everything that we forget to add the nuance to everything and the context behind everything, right? You know, sometimes, especially when you're a child, right, you ask, well, why are you doing this like this? Because you still don't understand the full process yet. You are looking at everything from this little view, this floor view, when the person doing something that you don't understand is looking at it from a bird's eye view, right? And so a lot of us, you know, because we are so emotional and people are so stressed out, we know a lot of people don't have the bandwidth to even listen, to even try to understand. We don't have the energy because we're just being, you know, people are just working so hard and just trying to get to the weekend and just kind of just like, fuck it, you know. That's how people are. And then you have people that are just like, you know, well, God's got me, I don't need to worry about anything. But it's just kind of like, you know, when there's a hurricane coming. Oh, there's a hurricane coming, so I'm gonna plan a beach trip on that day, right? And that's what I'm talking about, and that's what people are doing, you know? And the thing is, because it's not a hurricane, they are not able to see the signs yet because it hasn't been blatantly said to them, but yet they're ignoring the ones that, you know, could potentially mean something. Do you understand that when Venezuela collapsed, this is essentially how it happened? You know, they would just get you used to a new normal. And what is your new normal now? People just die like pretty regularly. Like, just go look at a list about how many celebrities that have died since, you know, 2021 to now. The list is probably more than 100 and really big names, right? Then you have just get used to the fact that kids are just dying randomly, right? And let's just get used to the fact that people are they're losing gut flora that they should have since from when they were birthed out of their mother's canal, and now that they've been infected with a certain thing, they're losing certain bacteria that are keeping them alive, and some of these people's children are being born with that bacteria being killed at a more faster rate and almost being born with none of that bacteria. It's like, so I forgot the name of the bacteria, but it's the specific bacteria that you have when you're born, right? And it stays with you for the rest of your life, or at least should. And if it doesn't, well, that could mean something quite bad for you, right? Let's just ignore the fact that you're paying so much in gas. But yeah, everything's fine, right? Let's just ignore the fact that they're giving out money like crazy, like it's hotcakes, and they're spending money on foreign affairs rather than our affairs. And while it hasn't, you know, obviously I care about other countries and I care about what other people are going through. But if you do not take care of your body first, how can you take care of other people's body? And so we're just depleting ourselves and depleting ourselves and depleting ourselves, you know, and no one's doing anything about it. Like, not at a significant rate. At least it feels that way. I'm sure maybe there's a lot of stuff going down in the background, but there needs to be a major shift. And I know my videos, they don't really get that many views, but I'm hoping that at least my thoughts can like go to you and you'll be like, you know, kind of like how monkeys, even if they're not on the same continent, once one monkey learns how to use a certain tool, all of a sudden the monkeys in even other continents start to learn how to use this specific tool as well. And so it's kind of like, because we have a neural network as humans, right? Kind of like the mycelium network. but we have that Wi-Fi, and that's why radio waves can connect with your brain, which is why we need to be very careful with that, but that's a whole other subject. My point is that life is extremely unfair, and we're allowing that to continue. One of the biggest things that I've seen affect people the most is the destruction of the family. And this is it's incredible, because it's as if, I know there's a lot of smart men out there, but our sons, our husbands, our brothers, our uncles, our grandfathers, our men are lacking, and a lot of men, it's not all, of course it's not all, nothing is ever all, but a lot, for some reason, we're lacking in the emotional intelligence department. And we are creating situations and scenarios that are going to be devastating for generations if our men don't stand up now. Women can only do so much. We're smart, we're great, we're intelligent, we can juggle 3 kids at once, right? We can bleed every month and still survive, and we can, do so much, but we can only do so much. We only have so much strength as women. And when the other half of society does not understand the deep level of distortion they have put on our society, they will understand that they're leading us towards destruction, a major destruction. And it's sad to really see that there's this level of immoral, inability, almost psychopathic level of not caring, right? Like, people have lost their just morality in a way. I just don't know how to I know there's a better word, but I'm not finding it. So when I'm, our men, I know women, can do some crazy shit, but it is the nature of a man. He is more hardwired towards violence and war and things like that, and towards, domination and being power hungry and being full of himself and having the giantess ego. And while I'm not saying women don't have that, men make I'm not saying women can't make an impact, but when a man punches something, the impact is a lot more than when a woman punches something. And that's simply because of lower bone and muscle density in the female body and more fat, and the opposite in a man. And so if we just forget, that how we are both, as men and women, equally important, men are missing where they're supposed to be, the rock, where they're needed. Men are needed in the household. Men are needed to take care of the boys that are, maybe don't have fathers and need better examples, so that they don't get put out into the street doing some, crimes and getting involved with the wrong crowd. Because when a boy is lost, that's what he does, okay? And then, gets into drugs, gets into homelessness, and it's just a whole pipeline. It's very easy for it to happen. It could have been very easy for me to end up that way, given my circumstance, given the way I grew up. I hope that, one day that my words can touch the right person, and we make a change. And, I think the problem is that we are too judgmental as a society. We are just so judgmental, and we're judgmental in the wrong ways. And so because we're so judgmental, we allow for people to go towards even more extremes because they want to push back towards the judgmental society that we live in, instead of educating each other in a loving manner, so that we don't proceed to continue to repeat history like we have done all the time. But you know, like, I'm only one girl, one woman, one person, you know. We all have to unanimously kind of agree to fixing things, you know. If we have a bunch of people going crazy, you know, it only takes 10% of society to really fuck things up. It doesn't matter if the majority of us aren't doing that, you know. And so we have to start realizing like the significance of what's actually happening right now, because we really are going down something not good, you know. And I understand that there's this whole black agenda and gay agenda and be racist to white people agenda, and it's just like, guys, you know, none of it actually matters if, you know, people are just dying everywhere and in every color. It doesn't really matter if people are sick in every color. It doesn't really matter, you know. We all have the same problems, and while sometimes, you know, some people stay in their own with their own, it doesn't mean that we don't all want the same thing. We all want love, we all want family, we all want some peace, we all want to see beauty, we all want to eat amazing things, right? For the most part, we all want to explore, we all want to love and be loved, but we are going insane because there's too much greed and selfishness, and people who literally could just fix things with the snap of their fingers but choose not to, because the issue is not that big of a deal. I mean, if you do the math, I mean, sometimes, you know, you do the math. Divide $1 trillion by 300 million. I'm pretty sure the number would be a good number to help each specific person that lives in the country, to give them a boost and to pull them out of a rough spot. But will we do that? Only 1 trillion. But yet we spend trillions on things we don't need, trillions on wars we shouldn't fight, trillions on bullshit. Money is not that important. We are putting way too much importance on money. But the wealth is within us. The wealth is in what you know. And they know that the less you know, the more poor you are, because the less that you can actually see all the possibilities, the more bigger and scarier everything seems to you when you just don't know. All right, I'm done.